We don't do that very often. Think of how many incoming calls you have every month of people just checking in on you to say hi regularly. We have those people, but what if you were that person in other people's lives? Feels good. I know that.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Life at 10 Tenths, where we inspire people to live at the pinnacle of their ability and purpose. As always, I'm Matt Bonelli. He's Garrett Fry. And gosh, we are excited to be with you guys today, sharing another episode, another idea, another conversation. And before we dive into that, if you guys want to experience what we're about to talk about, which is the power of people, come join us inside the 11 Circle. Come and get in the Life at 10 Tenths community. Just go to lifeat10tenths.com. You can find all the information there. We are ready for you to come in. We're doing amazing things in there. We're doing live coaching. We're doing Success Lab workshops. Just had Matthew Ferrara on there leading an incredible workshop. We're doing co-working sessions. We're doing book reviews. We're doing little extras there and there. There is so much. I mean, our mission in there, Garrett, and you can correct me if I'm wrong though, is to provide so much freaking value in there that people are like, this is it. Like, this is all I have to pay to be a part of this, because there is just so much value of being in there that is just unbelievable.
It's fun to watch it come to life. And we've kind of said this as this has grown, and we're only like a month, 2 months into this right now of like actually getting this thing rolling. So it's fun to see these opportunities start to shape and form and grow. And, we just did this book insight piece, and I just want to hit on this just for a second, because I was sharing with Matt as we were getting going here. I've read lots of books. I have in times of my life, I read more than others. There's been times I've taken breaks from it. One thing I've not done is gone through a book with the idea of doing a deep dive breakdown with somebody. And that's Matt. What's what we just did with Buy Back Your Time by Dan Martell. And incredible book, by the way, got my brain completely running on a different level. But at the same point, what was so cool was being able to discuss it with you. And here, if you didn't realize, Matt and I approach things a little bit differently. And but it works so well when we were sitting there and talking about that book, because you were looking at that book from different insights in different ways than what I was looking at it from. And one, I want to say thanks for going through that with me. But two, it's like those are some of the things that we're going to be doing inside the 11 Circle. We're going to be doing one of those every month. Matt and I are going to rip a book apart that we're reading right now that we love. So again, those are the things in there. And anything else, man? We jump right in.
No, I mean, I think that's a great segue into what we're going to talk about, which is a variation of, like, you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. I mean, everybody has heard that quote. Jim Rohn was kind of famous for making that famous. And we say those things, Garrett. We say that, right? You are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. But then do we actually take the proactive approach in analyzing that time and understanding who are we spending that time with, and how are we spending that time? And what is the power of sharing experiences with those people that we want to have in our top echelon there?
Well, and I where this started to come from, Matt, for the topic today was, I'm watching right now people that are having extreme success in their business. Like the amount of people that we coach and who we work with, it allows us this opportunity to step back and be like, okay, what's the factor? If you're coaching 5 people and you got some that are successful and some that are not, it's very hard to go, okay, what's causing this right now? Like, what's the difference? What are the factors we're working with here? When we're coaching the amount of people that we're working with, all of a sudden you get this chance to go, all right, there's some commonalities here. There's some things that we're watching that are making these people rise to the top. And there's some things that are I watch where people, it's like, these people are struggling. Like, they're really trying to get their footing underneath them so they can get to the goals and the dreams and the life that they want to have. Oh my gosh, man, it's people. People are the deciding factor here. And it is the community that you surround yourself with. It's the connections that you have with them. And it's not just a huge database of people. It's not just a huge list. It is shared experiences with these people. A lot of people, Matt, ask me, Is it really that important that I pick up the phone to make a phone call, or can I just do texting? Can I just text with these people? Yes, you can text, but it's really hard to have a shared experience and to grow and to learn and to like, expand that relationship in a text format. I want to hear your voice. I want to hear the sounds and the excitement of what it was like to watch your daughter at the dance recital. Like, I want to get into that with you if I really want to grow a relationship. And that's why I want to, kick around with you, Matt, today. And I think it'd be there's so many elements of this in your personal life, in your relationships with the people you love, in the business that you're growing, that it just expands when we can have these shared experiences with these people.
It does. And there's so many different places to implement this. And I know a lot of people are thinking right now, this is what's going on inside of my brain, actually. So I just assume other people are thinking this is like, okay, shared experiences. Here we go. Okay, I got my the 5 people that I need to spend the most time with. I got my family. I got business partners. I have clients. Like, wait a minute. This is a lot of people I have to spend time with and share experiences with. And I think what we need to start with is, what experiences grow you, right? Where are you going to find great growth? And how do you then bring experiences together that are efficient with your time, right? And bring people together? Because yes, there are times where text messages and emails and those things are appropriate. Then there are times where a deeper phone call is appropriate. And then there's times where getting in person is appropriate, depending on what you would like that relationship to mean in your world, right? Because you can run an incredible business and not see your clients I mean, there's plenty of businesses out there that
Oh,
don't
yeah.
have that human interaction with their clients, but it also kind of depends on what type of business that is, right? When it comes to personal growth, though, the live experience with someone is a whole different thing. And I think we don't often pre-plan how we want to experience others in our world, which leads us to just experiencing whatever happens to be in our world. And we miss out on the opportunity for our own personal growth and our business growth. Is that making sense?
No, I think I'm following you here, and I look at like relationships with my spouse, with Sarah. So very easily we can get into a working world around each other. We actually get to see each other. We pass each other. We make dinner. We're in the house together. There's one thing that we do every week, which is we go to a certain restaurant, we decompress, we get a chance to like really sit there and look at each other and talk to each other and share time, share energy with each other. And Sarah will always tell me, she goes, I need that. Like we need to go do this. This is not like a, hey, if it works out this week. It's like if it doesn't happen, like something is really off. And we got to come back and we got to ground and we need to do this with share that time with one another. I look at my parents right now. My parents, I can easily pick up the phone and call my mom, and talk with my mom on the phone, talk with my dad on the phone. They live 2.5 hours north of me. Like right now, this weekend, I told Sarah, I have got to get up there and see them face to face. I've got to sit in that room with them. I need to share the environment with them. The phone is not doing it right now. And I can feel it from their end that they're missing that time and that energy with their son. And I'm missing it with my parents. And it's like, we need to have that time where we can ground ourselves into a shared experience where, whether that's making dinner with my mom or sitting there, unfortunately, watching the news with my, I think that's a lot of our parents. We sit down and we watch the news because that's what they're doing a lot of. But that's that shared experience of being in that environment with them. And this expands out. And Matt, what you said, which I think is really important, is that you start looking at all these people and you're going, well, gosh, am I supposed to get together face to face with every single one of them and share that time, with every single one of them? And no, I actually don't think you have to. I think that there's some relationships out there that just the mere fact that we have a phone call every 30 days and we check in on each other and we see how life's going, that's pretty strong for that relationship. Maybe I'll see them a couple times a year, but just the mere fact that I picked up the phone to check in and see how they're doing, like that's what keeps that relationship going. Because It's amazing how few people do that. Take that time to pick up the phone and say, "Hey man, how are you doing? And what do you got going on? How's the family doing? What are you working on right now?" We don't do that very often. Think of how many incoming calls you have every month of people just checking in on you to say hi regularly. We have those people, but what if you were that person in other people's lives? Feels good. I know that.
It does feel good. And I think this comes down to your intention with your relationships and getting clear on who do you want to be intentional with and at what level, right? And we've talked about that before, and getting your database organized. And while this seems tedious, it is an important piece of work. And then when you carry that into experiences, right? And we talk about the power of shared experiences with people, is okay, now let's take those experiences that you could do on your own. Let's take working out as an example, right? Um, it's hard to work out on your own. I've been doing it for a long time, and I will say, whenever I work out with someone else, the performance is totally different. The experience is totally different. I have two friends right now. We just started up last month, kind of this monthly biathlon where we will go for a run somewhere and then a bike. And we just did our second one last weekend. And we were talking afterwards and like, man, that was so awesome. It was just such a fun experience. Now, I could have gone and done that run and ride by myself, and it would have been a completely different experience. I don't know if I would have completed it in the first part because we put some distance on, but it wouldn't have been the same level of excitement, the same level of enjoyment. It just would have been like, hey, cool, I did my workout, right? Whereas this, it was, hey, that was awesome. We had so much fun. We had great conversation. I built a stronger relationship with those guys, even though for there were a good period of time there we weren't talking at all. But you were building that relationship because you shared the experience. And I think you look at these things when it comes to business, the shared experience as a realtor is showing a home with a buyer, right? It's sitting there and going through there is a shared experience that's happening right then and there. It doesn't necessarily mean the client appreciation party. Yes, there's a shared experience there, but you want to look at what are the meaningful experiences I want to share with people. If I want to grow a relationship with somebody, if can I do something meaningful with that person? It could be, going to a racetrack with somebody, Garrett, right?
You're speaking
That's
my
going to
language,
be
man.
maybe
That's where
more
I was going to
meaningful
go.
than having lunch.
Going down those lines of like, what in my mind, what comes out is if I look back at all my experiences that I've had in my life, when there's a shared experience involved, it's better. It raises the environment. We were talking before we started recording today, talking about when we first met in person. And Matt and I, for all of you listening to this, Matt and I knew each other for a long time before we met in person. I coached him. Matt then came and joined me and was working on my team as a coach. And then we started the podcast together. And then all of a sudden it was like there was an event going on. And I said, we should get Matt to come and do this with us. And we had you come and join me at a BMW driving experience down in South Carolina. And what was so cool about that is that if I look back at like major milestones in our relationship of growing and building together and friendship together, like that is like a pinnacle moment that weekend. We've had all kinds of shared experiences. We've seen each other all over the United States now. We've met in different areas. We've taught together. We've trained together. We have shared all kinds of stuff. I have cooked with you in a huge kitchen. Like we have done all kinds of fun events and things. But when it really comes down to it, like driving on that racetrack and looking out the window as we're on a slick track doing the oval race and laughing at each other while we're trying to catch each other, like those are moments that are burned into my head that represent who Matt Benelli is in my world. Like that's the stuff when someone were to say, who is this guy, Matt Benelli? Those are the pictures that come up that I'm like, oh, I gotta tell you who this guy is. Like he's so cool in my world. If I look at the trips that I've taken and people that we've met on the trip, yes, there's this amazing shared experience with my kids and my wife and the journey. And then there's like these pieces of the trip that jump out. That's like, oh my gosh, that was the time that we met up with the Sammets and we went Quetzal watching, which by the way is one of the weirdest. If you feel the need to go bird watching, if you're one of the people that really like going out in the woods and sitting there and waiting for a certain bird to show up, the Quetzal's a beautiful bird. It was the funniest experience ever going with a group of people that are not bird watchers. It's one of my highlights of the trip was us sitting there. I think we actually annoyed a lot of really professional bird watchers because you don't clap to get the birds to fly. They're all like, look, there's a Quetzal. I'm like, they're only pretty when they fly. I'm like, come on, like, go along. And they're like, no, no, don't send them away. That's a memory of a shared experience that is burned into my head and will always remind me of these people in my world that are special to me. And I think that we have these opportunities to deepen these relationships, to take that moment, Matt, to say, what can I do to take that light relationship with somebody and just extend it a little further? And sometimes it's learning more about them. Sometimes it's doing something fun with them outside the box.
Yeah, this, as you're talking, it brings up for me, when we structure a business, a lot of times we build everything around how do we kind of manage and strengthen surface level relationships, right? Hey, I'm going to grab lunch, I'm going to grab coffee, which are important, by the way. Those are definitely things that should be done, and they're really good at helping you build relationships with people. But if you want to insert a milestone experience, right? And this is maybe part of a challenge that I'm putting out to people and to myself right now, is think of the people in your world that are important, the people who are great for your business, the people who are great for your personal development, the people who are fun, the people you love. And ask yourself, well, what have I done that is hard, fun, entertaining with these people? And if you're like, I haven't really done anything with those, great. Figure something out that you can do that becomes this experience that you hang on, right? Like the first time we met in person, that's an experience that's always going to be there in my mind. We've had coffee and meals plenty of times with each other since then. And I'll tell you, I don't remember every single one of them.
I remember the first one. I remember when we walked to dinner before going to the actual driving event and the outdoor restaurant that we sat in while it was pouring rain.
Yeah.
It's funny how
kind of snowing a little bit.
it was wild. It was snowing. That is actually, but that was those are like little moments that just they get cemented in as what that relationship stands for.
They do. And I think you can create this out of small things too, right?
100%.
You can even just be like, hey, how do I, this is why I am a huge fan of taking these in-person meetups that we have with others and turning them into something that's maybe a little bit different than what it usually is. So taking a coffee and turning it into a walk, or taking a meetup with another family and turning it into, hey, let's go to the aquarium, or let's cook something together, or let's go to the beach, or just making it a little bit different of a venue than what would normally be there, because it'll create a different experience, which will help you create a different relationship. It'll also, I think this is an important part, Garrett, help you understand what that relationship means to you so that you can better identify who are those 5 people that I want to be spending the most time with, who are actually beneficial. Because if we're doing the same things with the same people all the time, we may not be able to really get clarity for ourselves on, is this really the right thing for me to do, the right relationship for me in terms of where I want to go, right? It's like having that client who's like, oh, but they love me, they're so much fun, but they never send me any referrals or anything like that, but we always have a good time. It's like, great, so happy you have a good time. They're not helping you grow your business. They're not out there telling everybody that they should be working with you. Now, we also have to analyze to make sure that if we're bringing the value to get them to share, but let's say it is, let's just assume that's there. And you're out there supporting them and helping them grow and doing all these things. There's not some reciprocal action happening there. It's like, well, let's analyze that for a little bit and understand, am I trapped in a cycle here that I need to look differently, or maybe level up that experience to get a better understanding of who this person really is in my life? Like, these are hard things to do, but I think these are necessary thought process for us, Garrett, in order to help advance our purpose and our impact.
When you look at like the time of the day that you're running your business, we have about, most of us look at a 40-hour work week, and we're going to donate 40 hours, let's say, give or take, some people less, some people more, to this business. And when you're looking at the business building time and the working time, there are definitely strategic relationships we have. A lot of people sit down and make their hour of power phone calls to as many people as they can possibly make. And when you're making those phone calls, they should be somewhat strategic. There's a lots of phone calls. It's just because, well, I'm going to call Matt because Matt's an easy phone call. I love talking to Matt. Matt may not generate any business for me whatsoever. Matt have a very clear idea of what I do. I'm not sitting there going like, well, does Matt even know that I sell real estate? Does Matt even know that I own a welding company? Does Matt even know that I own a tire shop? Yes. Matt's very clear that I do that. Matt doesn't send me any business, but I love the dude. So I can take my time and I make my phone calls to you, but if it's business building time, let's sit back and say, who are the people that are really strategic in me building this business the way that I want to build it? Who are the ones that we have this great give and take that we can build this thing around? And I think that all this needs to be taken into account, Matt, when you're building out these shared experiences, these relationships, these pieces, and what are we really doing? And it takes some time to stop to analyze it and to figure it out. But I think for most part up front is people just need to make that reach out, to start making that touch. It doesn't take very much, but it does take forward momentum from you. It does take energy from you. This doesn't happen by accident where people just like all of a sudden flood in your direction. And all of a sudden we have all these great relationships and we have all these great contacts. It always is going to start with you. And if you want to have that and you want to grow it, you better come up with a plan right now. And I've seen all kinds of ways that it's done. I have one that I'd love to share, Matt. Have you seen any creative ways of just getting out there and meeting people and talking to people? And I know I'm kind of putting you on the spot with this, but
well, I mean, in terms of like meeting new people at this point, or just in terms of things you can do with people, I mean, there are a lot of creative things, seen a lot of things, but go dive into your example, man.
well, I think that sometimes we look at the people that we have and we get kind of the blinders on to be like, but I only have this many people. We got to go meet new people. We got to expand this a little bit more. As I said, I'm watching this difference right now of people that are crushing it in this business and ones that are walking around going, I maybe have 6 months left to try to make this business work. And if I can't figure it out, like I'm going to go find a different career. I am hearing those words out there from people right now. So if we've got that scenario happening and we know that people are the key to the ones that are crushing it right now. And I don't care if you follow whatever system it is, if it's Buffini, if it's Ferry with your real estate, if it's Ninja with your business, if whatever you're following out there, it's going to come back to the amount of people that you're interacting with and the communications that you're having with them. So just for fun, when Sarah and I moved into this house, Sarah very clearly said, we're going to bake cookies for all the neighbors. I said, isn't that something the neighbors do for you when you move into a neighborhood?
Go the other way around.
Yeah, don't they like they're like, hey, welcome to the neighborhood. Isn't that like, and you're like, oh man, what a nice neighbor we have next door. She goes, I know. She goes, it feels really good when somebody does that. She goes, we're going to do it the other direction. And she fired up the oven and she started baking cookies. And we got all the kids together and we said, guys, we're going to go walk the neighborhood. We got packages of cookies for each one of the neighbors of all the houses around us. And a lot of people walk into my world. We every once in a while have a whole bunch of friends. We are building a car or working on a car in the front yard. And they're like, how in the world do you know your neighbors so well? Like, how do you have this relationship with all these people on your street? The damn cookies is what did it. It was way early on, many years ago, that we took the time to walk the neighborhood and we walked up to everybody's door and we introduced ourselves and we said, we're the Fries. We're right next here. Here's our contact information. If you ever need anything at all, we're here. We're always around. We'd love to help you with anything that you need. And we did it with all the neighbors. And you sit there and you go, okay, was it effort on our part? Yes. Was it a little uncomfortable in some ways to kind of go like, we're okay. Like, but there was another side of the intention was, I want to have really good relationships with these neighbors. This is no different than the community events that we get involved with. And I'm not saying what we do, but I'm saying if you choose to do them, if you choose to get involved in Rotary, how are you approaching Rotary? Are you just showing up? I mean, like, all right, I'm here for the Rotary meeting. All right, good stuff. And then we leave. Or am I sitting there and saying, no, just like Garrett, how he moved into a neighborhood and they met all the neighbors and made an impact and did something that set the stage for what that relationship was going to be. Am I doing that with these other environments out here? Or am I just hoping that these relationships are going to take hold? The neighborhood, I've lived in a lot of neighborhoods where I don't know all the neighbors. And guess what? I did not deliver cookies. That's all Sarah, by the way.
Yeah. Well, I love that idea. And what that speaks to me is what you're saying is asking yourself the question of, are you an element within this experience or are you just a viewer of the experience? Because I think about 4th of July, right? We just had 4th of July. My neighborhood does an incredible fireworks display. In fact, the guy who does it had a Civil War replica cannon that he fired.
How much
a
did he
few
spend
times.
on, you share, how much did he spend on fireworks?
Oh, he ended up having donations, and then what the fireworks store gave him on top was over $12,000 worth of fireworks that went off in our neighborhood, right?
I
And
so badly want to move to South Carolina now, but keep going.
it's awesome. So you think about that. How do you have a shared experience? Okay, there's different elements of this. You could just be somebody who is there experiencing, which there's nothing wrong with that, right? But you're not creating a shared experience. You're not a key element into that happening. Are you hosting an event? Like we hosted some friends at our house. So we were a key element because we became a part of how that some people were able to experience the fireworks because they don't live in the neighborhood. Hey, come over to our house and we'll just walk out the backyard and go take a look. And it's going to be incredible. And then there's James who put all this on for months and months of collecting donations and then saying, hey, I got a cannon. I'm going to figure out if it's legal for me to fire this thing off, which apparently it was because he fired it multiple times. And then he went and got the fireworks and he was a crucial part. And then there's the people who helped support him. And all the people who were out there lighting the fireworks off, I guarantee they had a shared experience where that's an anchor, whether they talk to each other the next week, the week after, or not, they have that shared experience that has become an anchor. And they were each a key element in that happening because they all had kind of roles and to play in that world. And so you think about like the cookie thing, right? That wouldn't have happened if you guys didn't do it.
Nope.
Right. And there's, being somebody who stops at the neighborhood lemonade stand and there's the person who is the lemonade stand. And I'm not saying that you always have to be the catalyst and the primary party to an experience, but like you said with Rotary, asking yourself, how can I be a key player in this so that I'm not just showing up and listening to the speeches that are happening at Rotary every week. I'm actually there proactively asking questions and engaging people, and even maybe just like whatever else it might be, volunteering for a part of it where you do become a key element so that you can create those anchored and shared experiences.
Well, Matt, it's like simple as like, how many lunches can I set up off of the Rotary meeting this week? Now, very few people go into it going like, my goal is to have 3 lunches set up with key players of this city for the next 2 weeks based on this meeting with Rotary here right now.
And think about the value you bring by doing that, because people are like, hey, I want to join Rotary because I want to meet new people in the city. And you're there proactively saying, hey, let's have lunch. You just made that person's membership to Rotary worth it by doing that.
And we have and this is where like we use Rotary as the example here, but it's like, there are so many other community events, things going on, things happening in town. Just the town hall meetings. Like I've been to a handful of our town hall meetings where we're talking about development, projects going on, city issues that are going on. And you can sit in that room and say, okay, I'm going to spend some time. I'm going to learn all about elements that are really important for my business and me being a business owner in town and all this stuff. And the other fact is like, how many people can I walk out of here that are also, with their contact information, with a new relationship? We have a shared experience of being here at this meeting. We have things we can talk about because we all here gathered the same information. I'd love to hear their viewpoints on it. We can own these events and then take those and say, okay, now how can I build a relationship, a connection out of here? And again, I go back to everything is better with people. Everything in my life that I've ever experienced is better with a shared environment, a shared experience, and the people that I surround myself with. And you have a choice as you build your business. Who do I want to share this experience with? How do I want to grow with this? If I'm going to take a trip with my family, I have a choice. There's families that I'm like, top of the list. We need to take a trip with them and with them and with them. I have other people in my world that I'm like, I never need to go on a family trip with them. I like them. I don't need to spend a week in Hawaii with them. That would not be the fun adventure that I'd be looking at. That's not the shared experience that I need. And this is where you will have full control. When it comes to your business, who do you want to surround yourself with? Who do you want to build this with? And we all know that client, they're like, I don't need more of those clients. Good. Very clear. We don't need to build it around that. Let's not try to create a whole bunch more shared experiences with those people. Let's build them around these people over here that we can build this in a way that's going to make our business thrive in the way that we want to see it. And I think very few people take the ownership of the driver's seat. And I'm hoping listening to this episode today that people take a step back, look at their database, see who they've surrounded themselves with, and either say, one, do I first need to create some shared experiences inside this group that I already have? And if you have maxed out your people in there, what I want you to think about is, are there experiences? And it could be a Bible study group, it could be a sewing club, and it could be Rotary, but whatever it is around you that you could sit back, it might be cars and coffee and say, how do I want to grow my world? And how do I want to grow this business? Because the people are the difference.
It's funny you mentioned cars and coffee. I got cars and coffee on my calendar for tomorrow and was thinking this morning of, hey, maybe Jen will take Victoria to gymnastics and I can take Elizabeth to cars and coffee because I haven't been in a little bit. And then I was like, but it's really hot. I was like, well, but if we go early enough, it should be okay. Anyway, sorry for the squirrel moment.
No, I have met the coolest people that I would not have met. They are key players in our town. It's amazing how really successful business people in your area have the expendable cash to go spend on ridiculous cars that you never needed in your life, but you wanted. You can find them at Cars and Coffee. It's an interesting place. And awesome entrepreneurs, awesome people that I've come across down there.
And I know we've bounced around a little bit on this topic, but I want to also highlight for these experiences, doing something that you enjoy, something you're interested in, or something that is challenging you and pushing you to be better. And because I think a lot of people would say, well, I love cars. I love going to Cars and Coffee, but I got to sit here and focus on doing my work for my business. If your business involves people, which it does, no matter what business you're in, going to Cars and Coffee is going to be good for you. If you take advantage of because you also, let's forget about meeting new people. What about seeing the people who you have shared interests with at that event, who you maybe only get to see once a month? Those experiences can be powerful enough to lead to business on the in-between. Yeah, you're maybe not on like a text string with that person, but because you have that shared experiences, it lodges into your brain these memories, which, we talk about, you want to be top of mind. Okay, frequency of showing up in someone's world is going to help that. But the meaningful reason why you show up in someone's world also can play a role that can overcome frequency of interaction depending on, what we're talking about here, right? And so I think we've kind of gone down many paths and bringing this kind of to some concrete things. We're talking about shared experiences to help elevate yourself with the people that you're around and asking yourselves, who are the people that I'm spending time with that are going to help me grow and achieve my goals? And then also crafting these experiences so that we can have more concrete and better and stronger relationships that not only help these people be remembered in our world because we want to love on them, but also so that we can be remembered in their world.
And I want to just emphasize, Matt, it's okay to spend time with people you just love and enjoy that are never going to have a benefit necessarily to your growth of your business world.
That is the benefit. If you love them though, and you have fun with them and they bring you energy, if they just light you up because you're around them, they are benefiting you.
That is a great point, Matt. We're going to end it right on that because I think that is an incredible element of, if they raise your energy, if they make you a better person, they may not directly, where a lot of us look at like, what is the give and take of this relationship in the form of, is it building my business? If it is making you a better person with better energy that you can bring to the rest of your environment, they are an important player in your world. All right, man. So This
Good
is a fun
stuff,
topic.
dude.
I actually
Good
enjoy
stuff.
talking. People are fascinating to me. I love people. I love the energy they bring. I love the give and take of energy that you get when you're working around different people. So everybody, I hope you had some fun with this.
And I want to plug something that we don't have planned and don't have scheduled, but is going to happen is we're going to be doing live events. And what you can expect from that is an experience. It's not going to be a typical show up, listen to people talk at you, exchange some business cards and go home. We're going to craft these things to be an experience so that you're challenged. You may be getting pretty uncomfortable, but you're also going to be able to enjoy it with other people who are just as interested in you in their personal and business growth so that you guys can have a shared experience that will build into something incredible afterward as well. So it's not going to just be the experience that you're there for. It's what it will do for you afterwards because of that experience. So I'm excited for that. So I'm plugging that. So stay tuned to that. Watch out for notices and things that we'll be sharing. I mean, we're talking months and months down the line here, but it's coming.
I will say this, Matt, and I will not spoil what the idea of what the event could be, but I will say is that my wife and my daughter went and tested out one of these events here a while back. And we sent specifically, Sarah and Celeste to go and experience this because what I knew is when they came back, the bond that they had built and the videos that I saw of the laughter and the excitement and the fun that they were having, but them also walking away going, I never thought that I could do that. I never thought that I had the power to do that. Is the gift that I want to see come out for other people. And knowing that they went and did something that's like, well, they enjoyed that. Everybody's going to enjoy this. This is it. So even though these things are going to push people and they're going to go outside their comfort zones, at the same point, they're not designed to scare you. They're not designed. They're the things that we're going to do. They are designed to just get you to think outside the box and think bigger and grow. And that's what I'm excited about. So
yeah, same.
All right. So for any of you that are interested in following what we are building outside of this podcast, we have the Life at 10 Tenths community, but the real important part of that community is the 11 circle. And so if anybody who's listening to this and says, yeah, I signed up for the community, we have lots of people coming in that are part of the Life at 10 Tenths community, which is you can get access to the podcast episodes, you can get access to some things that are going on. But if you really want to take advantage of what that group is, you need to join the 11 circle. This is where we're having speakers come in. This is where we're doing live coaching. This is where we're doing our book insights and we're deep diving and ripping apart books. This is where the next level is in there, one level above 10. So come and join us in there. We're super excited. We're having a lot of fun with a lot of great people. And again, so this is so cool to watch this grow out. Matt, thank you so much for doing this with me as we continue to grow. And till the next one, man.
Yeah. Thank you, sir. See you guys on the next one.